leading. But we'll get into it. We'll get into all that today. First, we're going to start off with a reading from the good book. Hold on. The good book, The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. Y'all know how we feel about Napoleon Hill. And this particular chapter, as I told y'all before, I started chapter 9. It's the habit of doing more than paid for, something that I think I was going to say for business owners, entrepreneurs, but really, y'all know how I feel about sales in general and us always selling ourselves. So I do believe that we're always selling ourselves. This is just another example. Once we look at it from that perspective, then and we look at ourselves as the brand, even if we're on a day-to-day job, 9 to 5, we are selling ourselves. Somebody's paying us for something, for the value that we bring to the table. So I think this is something that anybody can benefit from. So let me read a little bit from this chapter. I may hop all over a little bit, read maybe a page here and then skip to the next page, get y'all insight, and then we will start the show. All right, so let's get into the reading. All right, lesson 9, habit of doing more than paid for. It may seem to be a departure from the subject of this lesson to start the lesson with the discussion of love, but if you will reserve your opinion until you have completed the lesson, you may be ready to agree that the subject of love could not have been omitted without impairing the value of the lesson. The word love is here used in an all-embracing sense. There are many objects, motives, and people which arouse one's love nature. There is some work which we do not like, some that we do like moderately, and under certain conditions, there may be work which we actually love. Great artists, for example, generally love their work. The day laborer, on the other hand, usually not only dislikes his work, but may actually hate it. We know exactly who he's talking about. Work which one does merely for the sake of earning a living is seldom liked. More often, it is disliked or even hated. When engaged in work which he loves, a man may labor for an unbelievably long period of hours without becoming fatigued. Work that a man dislikes or hates brings on fatigue very quickly. A man's endurance, therefore, depends very largely on the extent to which he likes, dislikes, or loves that which he is doing. We are here laying the foundation, as you will, of course, observe, for the statement of one of the most important laws of this philosophy, viz. A man is most efficient and will more quickly and easily succeed when engaged in work that he loves or work that he performs in behalf of some person whom he loves. Whenever the element of love enters into any task that one performs, the quality of the work becomes immediately improved and quantity increased without a corresponding increase in the fatigue by the work. All right, so I wanted to skip to the next page. They give an example of something that they went through or that a group went through, but I just want to share this with you guys. The man who engages in work that he loves best does not always have the support in his choice of his closest friends and relatives. Combating negative suggestions from friends and relatives has required an alarming proportion of my energies during the years that I've been engaged in research work for the purpose of gathering, organizing, classifying, and testing the material which has gone into this course. Wow, that's kind of crazy when you think about it. He's gotten a lot of negative suggestions from doing this work, and we all know what it turned into. These personal references are made solely for the purpose of showing the students in this philosophy that seldom, if ever, can one hope to engage in the work one loves best without meeting with obstacles of some nature. Generally, the chief obstacles in the way of one engaging in the sort of work one loves best is that it may not be the work which brings the greatest remuneration. We need to spell, somebody look up remuneration. Remuneration. We need to look that up. I'm a big fan. Every time I find a new word, money paid for the work or service. All right, so remuneration, new word of the day. It's money paid for the work of service. So what he's saying is that it's very hard for sometimes us to find work that we actually love that we can get paid for. All right, so generally the chief obstacles in the way of one engaging in sort of work one loves best is that it may not be the work which brings the greatest remuneration. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong at the start. To offset this disadvantage, however, the only one who engages in the sort of work he loves is generally rewarded with two very decided benefits. Namely, first, he usually finds in such work the greatest of all rewards, happiness. We got to talk about that, which is priceless. And secondly, his actual reward in money, when averaged over a lifetime of effort, is generally much greater for the reason that labor which is performed in a spirit of love is usually greater in quantity and finer in quality than that which is performed solely for money. So what are we talking about? This is something that we've touched on previously when we talk about happiness, whether or not it's important, how we feel about happiness. Are we chasing happiness? Are we chasing purpose? Are we chasing money? Whatever these things are. We all know that if we are lucky enough to find something that we do truly love, it allows us to work harder at it. It allows us to work smarter. It allows us to kind of be obsessed. Have you ever had something in your mind that you're just so obsessed about? You're thinking about it constantly all the time. And when you're thinking about it constantly, you're constantly thinking about new ideas, new implementations that you can bring about to be more successful, to market your product, to get it out there, to bring more value than we would typically bring if we're not focused on something. You know, there's certain things that we go to, like somebody, like a car person who is a mechanic, who loves cars, who kind of grew up fixing stuff and stuff. They're going to go into their job a lot differently than somebody who's just like, listen, I'm just coming into the unemployment office. I'll take whatever, you know, okay, mechanic. All right, I'm just whatever pays. There's going to be a difference. Who would you want to fix your car? Give me the guy who loves cars, who's into it, who's obsessed with it, because they're going to be the ones that are going to maybe think of new ways to solve particular problems rather than just getting by, doing the status quo in order to receive a paycheck. So if we can incorporate this into our day-to-day life, I guess we can kind of back into certain situations where hopefully we can find something that we're doing that we truly do care about, truly do like, truly do love, align with our purpose, all these different things, so that it can bring us back a lot of these rewarding factors and happiness. But that kind of is also going to propel us and empower us and give us the energy that we would need to be great at something. You know, to be great at something, it's like that extraordinary word. Like you have to do the ordinary things very extra. So for us to do anything extra, it's going to be a lot easier if we do enjoy what we're doing. So I'll leave y'all with that. Napoleon Hill. Like I told y'all, when you pick up a book, you know, Law of Success, you're not necessarily thinking that it's going to be as much as, you know, the mental aspect of a lot of the things that he incorporates. But then when you do think about it, it does make sense because, you know, this is everything. But you're not necessarily thinking that love is going to be one of the deciding factors in whether or not, you know, I can be successful at what I'm doing and become great at it. So there we are. And yeah, let me touch. I think today's a good day to, as we finish that up, to kind of catch up on the weather. We haven't gotten into the weather. Last week in Jersey, it was all rainy. This week it's looking lovely. We got 77 today, 81 tomorrow, 81 Wednesday, 76 the next day. And it looks sunny until at least Thursday. So yeah, sunny until at least Thursday. Getting a little bit of this fall weather before the weather finally makes that final break. But it is what it is. I'm a fall guy. I'm a fall guy. Oh, and if you haven't heard my mixtape, you feel me, my DJ playlist, make sure you check that out. And I got a new one called Hoodie Season coming out that I'm putting in the works. Hoodie Season, fellas, ladies, thank me later. All right, you can thank me later. You ain't got to thank me now. So let's get into it.